Well, now you got into this mess by going down a waterfall. Now, how would you suppose we can get them out of there?
By going up the waterfall?
That's right. Anything's possible in Disneyland.
Welcome, friends, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Up the Waterfall with your hosts, Zanna and Scott Otis.
Hello.
Here we take a nostalgic tour up the waterfall of Disney parks, movies, books, and more with a present-day point of view. So we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy your journey up the waterfall. Now, this is episode 32, which is happening right after Disneyland Park has turned 65.
The big 6'5".
Yes, it can now collect Social Security if it wishes to, and it should probably apply for that because, it's not doing
I would
too
think
far away. So we may have missed the birthday on the dot, but we wanted to celebrate basically what makes Disneyland so amazing and why we love Disneyland so much. I recently posted on Twitter, if you didn't see it, a post I had done for Disneyland's 60th birthday about the Disneyland difference, which I really should revisit at some point. Maybe I will when I do this.
That was a phenomenal post. I highly recommend you all take a look at that.
Thank you. Well, it's 5 years later, and now we're doing a podcast. So
Yay.
we are going to share, just to keep it fun and light, because it could go on for 3 hours, I'm sure.
Probably.
So we're going to do our top 5 reasons we love Disneyland.
Top 5 each or top 5 total?
Top 5 each, which will become 10, but maybe
30.
not, because I only did 5. I know you always do extra, so
I did.
some of ours may be the same.
I'm sure.
There's only so much you can love about Disneyland.
No, there is not.
Well, with that said, do you want me to go first and jump right in
Yes.
here? Okay.
Ladies first. Beauty
Excuse
before dumb.
Okay. I debated going in order, like ending up with the number one reason, like the best reason,
Okay.
or not. But I don't want to save this thing for the end, so I'm just gonna go like best.
I have no order on mine, so we'll
best
see
to
how it
least
goes.
best, because they're all good, I guess. So my number one is basically just the history itself, the history of the park.
That's a good one.
Oh, excuse me. Which encompasses many different things. It was a park of firsts, as you know. The first theme park outside of Knott's Berry Farm, I guess. We can debate that later.
I would call it the first, but
designed, from Walt's mind for the most part. Of course, the Imagineers came up with the way things worked and how things came to life. But Walt walked the park, and Walt stayed above the firehouse. And it definitely has a different feel because of that. That was one of the things I mentioned in my article was, I didn't visit until 2011. You grew up there, so you have a different kind of feel for it because of that, I think. But even though I did not visit until 2011, I instantly fell in love because it encompasses all of that backstory and history, and there's little tales around every corner and little stories. And
yeah, I mean, I have quite a few books that actually show a lot of the photographs from like the construction of Disneyland, and it's just so unique because it's other than there are a couple of photos of Walt on the Florida property, but there's just so many photos of Walt at Disneyland, and you can literally stand in the places that he stood. You know, whether it be during construction or he had a good 11 years that he lived with that park, and just so many really great photographs of him just at little places that you could go and you could recreate those photos, and if you wanted to.
And despite the changes over the years, and certainly even landscaping has changed over the years, so much of it is still the same.
Oh yeah,
that it does just have that instant nostalgia feel, no matter how old you are or when you first came to the park.
That's right. And I'm actually currently reading a book on the construction of Disneyland called Disney's Land that you had actually given me for Christmas. And so it's just really, it's a great book that actually talks about the kind of the creation of Disneyland. And it's just so neat, seeing all the cast of characters that we all know, the Imagineers that, Walt's animators that he turned into Imagineers to create Disneyland. And just to see all of the things that took place to essentially create the land that we know and love today. And so it's a lot of fun just, being able to, to know that I've been to those places that are talked about and where so much history has happened. So that's a good one.
Yeah. Was that on your list?
Yeah. It actually might have taken up 3 different ones.
Oh, well,
but that's okay.
Well, then we've just knocked, an hour and a half off of our recording time. So.
Well, I'll find a way. The one I'll start off with is oh gosh, there's so many. I'll talk about the attractions.
Okay.
A lot of the attractions are very unique to Disneyland, or if they're not unique to Disneyland, a lot of times they are better.
They're better. Yes, that was on my list too.
Oh no,
no, it's fine.
I wouldn't say that's always the case, but for the most part it is. I mean, everyone knows, Pirates of the Caribbean, the original, is just beyond anything that they have here in Florida. The Space Mountain is, with the new, especially the new Space Mountain with its, I'll get to that.
Okay, go ahead.
You were showing me your Storybook Land Canal Boat shirt, which is honestly one of my our all-time favorite attractions.
Yes,
there.
We should have brought Monstro up here. I left him downstairs.
Oh,
darn
no.
it. Oh,
well, you have Monstro.
That's true.
But yes, gosh, my mind is in so many places right now. I was talking about Space Mountain, how the tracks are made out of butter.
Yes.
They're so smooth. But yeah, so many unique attractions like the Storybook Land Canal Boats, the Casey Jr. Circus Train.
Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland. I would say Pinocchio's Daring Journey, but they did add that in Tokyo. Actually opened the day before the one at Disneyland opened. But
and
even just
Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah,
which
Indiana
is recent
Jones Adventure.
as far as, the rest of the rides go, but still a classic. Even the history of some of the old time attractions, whether it be Adventure Through Inner Space or the Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland, and the iconic Disneyland Railroad, the attraction that really started the whole park. Every attraction there is just so, just gives you that feeling like, wow, I'm here. I'm for
home.
sure. And I think things like the Autopia.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Give you a chance to see the monorail going by and things like that, and the People Mover track. The fact that the People Mover track is still there is just, a chance to tell the stories of the park and how it was in the past. And if you don't know them, if you're coming there, blind to the history, you can certainly ask someone, and that just starts a conversation.
That's
about
right. Yeah, I mean,
the park's
just
history.
the whole Land on the Move that started with the 67 opening of that new Tomorrowland. Yeah, with the submarine voyage and the People Mover.
Yeah.
Autopia.
And the monorail itself.
Oh yeah, and the Skyway.
Attraction.
The Skyway that you would go through the Matterhorn.
Yes, I missed that, sadly.
So many good things. So yeah, I would say the attractions of Disneyland, and I know all of the other parks, of course, have their own attractions, and a lot of them are very unique to their park. But to me, the Disneyland set of attractions to me is like tops.
Yeah, for sure. It's always a good reason to go there. And like you said, there's some that are the same here that are better in Disneyland, like Peter Pan and Pirates.
Oh my gosh.
What's the one that some people like? Oh, the Haunted Mansion.
The Haunted
here.
Mansion, I actually love the exterior of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland better, but the ride itself is slightly better at Disney
like it
World.
At Disneyland.
I do too. It's just really short compared to the other one. But it does have the Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
I mean, the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay.
That's true.
To make it completely unique.
And I think the Big Thunder Mountain is better there also.
At Disneyland?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I totally forgot that one.
Oh, and It's a Small World is
gosh.
completely different, which I've heard arguments. Our friend Matt prefers the one here because it's
Because the water is all
everywhere.
around. Yeah.
Which I didn't never even
I
stop
do
to
like
realize that until he mentioned that it's just in Disneyland. It's just
you're in a canal
that you're in the boat, and then the rest is dry, which makes more sense because that came from the World's Fair.
That's right.
I'm sure that was easier to make happen. And then at Disney World, they had more space and more time to figure everything out. But I still think it's better in Disneyland.
Oh,
I know you
agree.
have a favorite in Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, to me, is actually, they have even plussed the one at Disneyland. But if you count the exterior building of Disneyland's, to me, that even makes it better than all of the others.
Yeah. And
because that's
you
so,
can have shows on it.
The whole Mary Blair theme right there.
Good times.
And the train that goes right through it, too.
Yeah. Super fun. Okay. Well, then my second one is kind of like we sort of talked about it already, but I separated it.
That's okay.
And I'm saying atmosphere. Because when you walk in to the park, it's hard to describe. And I know, to non-Disney people, we sound like crazy people that a place can be so important and have such an impact on you. And like I keep saying, I wasn't there till 2011, and it still had this incredible impact on me. I think because it is smaller, it feels more compact and concentrated. The magic is concentrated, and the minute you walk under the train station, it's just your eyes are opened and everything it's similar to Magic Kingdom and walking down Main Street, but it's different.
Yeah. I mean, I think this might have something to do with that my heart is made out of charcoal, but I don't get that feeling when I'm at Disney World. Maybe I've just been here so many times, but it is totally unique to me at Disneyland.
No, I agree. I still get the feeling at Disney World here, if I haven't gone here in a long time. I definitely do at Epcot. I don't know if I would now because it's kind of a mess with construction walls.
Right.
But just walking up and seeing Spaceship Earth still does that
That's
for me.
true.
Especially if they have the right background music playing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I guess it just has to do with the history, and there's a lot more to the Main Street. There's little nooks and crannies and things that just make it so unique and special. And, you've got the music going, you've got the scents of the park, scents, things cooking and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
And the scents they pipe in as well. And I think the layout of the park contributes to that too. There's, the bottleneck in Adventureland, which I've heard that they've improved upon. We haven't been there you've been there before.
I've been there last year, yeah.
Yeah.
And
has it improved at all, the bottleneck
I
situation?
haven't noticed any difference.
Okay, well, that's what makes it a fun little...
Oh, yeah. It's the smallest land
Yeah.
of any park anywhere, it's so packed full of things.
Yeah.
And that is the thing, like what you were saying about it being so compact and all of the magic being concentrated. You're right. And there are certain things, of course, that may not thematically match because of that. I remember there was one time when I was at the Innoventions building, and I could see the sailing ship Columbia from there.
Yeah.
But to me, that is part of the magic of that place. Yeah, it may have seemed out of place when I was supposed to be in Tomorrowland and I was seeing a sailing ship from the late 1700s, but to me that was part of the magic of Disneyland. Being able to go from, say, Space Mountain to the back of Critter Country within 5-10 minutes.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And all of the themes that you would go through to do that. To me, that's part of how special that Disneyland is. So, no, that's a good one.
yeah. All right, your turn.
And I think you might have taken two more off of my list with that. Because a lot of them are combined like that. So I might have to touch upon
This
these
is
a
why
little
we
bit
had
later.
to make a list, because I knew you would
Oh, yeah.
have 20 books full.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'll go somewhere that's completely different than anything else. And, gosh, this is probably going to be on your list, too. I was going to say the unique foods of Disneyland.
That's
Is
my
that
next
on your
one.
list?
I'm going to be done next turn. That's okay. We can make it top 5 or
Well, I have
8.5
extras,
or
and
something.
you'll be able to touch upon those.
Okay.
But, yeah, Disneyland, unlike all the other parks, has so many amazing, great foods. And I am, of course, going to start with the quintessential corn dog on Main Street, the little red wagon that cannot be touched from anywhere else. It's the size of a small child's arm. It's
True.
it's the sweet batter and the excellent dog inside. Dip it in. I prefer ketchup, but I've never gotten one at the Corn Castle in California Adventure.
As a result of you doing that, I never have either.
And
so
I never will.
I cannot compare the two.
I will only get it at the little red wagon because it just tastes better from there. But I've only touched upon one. There's so many more.
Well, I was just going to say, I do miss a Disneyland corn dog. They need to make a vegan one.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, there's the Bengal barbecue skewers. The even the churros are better there. They actually make them fresh instead of frozen from here.
Tigger
The Tigger Tails. Gosh.
You've forgotten the Matterhorn macaroon.
The macaron Matterhorn. No, the Matterhorn macaroon. Oh, my gosh.
At one point, you bought, I think, a dozen, maybe a baker's dozen
Oh, yeah.
of those to take home on one of our
It's always
trips.
fun to be able to photograph that one with the big Matterhorn in the background.
Of course. I think that's required by law.
With the icy slopes of the majestic Matterhorn, with Hans and Otto scaling them. Actually, I remember one time I even took a photograph with little gummy bears posing as Hans and Otto, that they were scaling the little macaroon. And I'm sure I'm forgetting. There's a new steam buns in Adventureland that you haven't even tried yet.
I haven't. But I do love a good vegan gumbo in a bread bowl.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
The
gumbo in a bread bowl at the...
that's so good. And they have chowder for people that have chowder. And I think there's like a beef stew one or something too. But the gumbo is vegan, so...
Yeah.
I've been able to get it over
and just even the ice cream on Main Street. To me, that at the Gibson Girl is better than any ice cream anywhere.
I think my first visit to Disneyland, that's one of the things that struck me so much was how good the counter service food was. And the fact that for the table service food, for the most part, back then when I went, you didn't need a reservation.
Nope.
Like they didn't have the ADR system. Like you could call and make a reservation if you really wanted to. But then it quickly changed for things like Carnation Cafe.
And that's really the only one that we have to make sure to get.
I think Blue Bayou probably needs a reservation too, but we haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
Because it's like so pricey for what you get, and you can get most of the
I
same
think
food
it's
at
mostly the atmosphere.
Cafe Orleans. So
yes.
That's been our go-to.
But there's just so many great things. And I'm sure there's probably 20 to 30 things, different snacks and things that I haven't even talked
so
about.
You'll have to leave a comment with your favorite Disneyland food item if we missed it.
Yeah, I mean, I love eating at Disneyland so much. I often find myself having like 4 or 5 meals on a particular day just because there's so many great options.
Yes, including the corn dog appetizer.
Yeah. And the Rancho del Zocalo.
I forgot the mint julep, which I know you don't care for because it
I
tastes like
do-
toothpaste for you.
Yeah, but I do
But they
like
have different
the
flavors now, I
the
think.
beignets that they have
Oh,
there.
the beignets. So good. And these things are unique for the most part. I mean, you can get beignets at Port Orleans here when it opens back up. I mean, I guess it's just because the size here is so much larger. They can't really do the quality control that they can do at Disneyland. But I mean, it's pretty crowded there too.
It is.
And yet they keep up the quality of their food and the options. There's so many different options. Anyway, we could go on that forever.
I think we should. That could be a whole show.
Yes. Top 27 Disneyland food items.
But what about the other 27?
Oh, is it my turn again?
I guess.
Oh, dear. Well, I only have one left,
Well,
so
no.
I can elaborate on yours, I'm sure. It's fine. No one's keeping track anyway. Except Christian, I guess, because he has to, I don't know, do something with them. For me, I wrote down location, meaning not necessarily Anaheim, California, but just the fact that here you could walk to the Contemporary, I guess, if you wanted to. You could walk to the TTC. Soon you'll be able to walk to the Grand Floridian because they're doing,
That's right.
walk to the TTC, you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
Walk from
Although
the TTC
they did used to
the
sell a walking
Polynesian.
pass from the TTC to the Magic Kingdom a long time ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
But the fact that you can, walk from, if you're staying on property, or even if you're not, like staying on Harbor Boulevard or the other one that I've never stayed on that side.
Catella?
Catella, I guess.
Oh, there's Catella. There's Disneyland Drive,
The
Ball
one
Road,
that's
and
over
Harbor.
by the bus loop thing.
That is Harbor Boulevard.
Oh, okay. So I'm thinking of Catella then. That's where
Yes.
we usually stay on that side, or I have in the past. Anyway, you can walk to Disneyland and California Adventure, and
Yep.
you can walk from Disneyland to California Adventure from Disneyland, and you can walk to downtown Disney and back. There's been so many times that we've visited in, the
yeah.
past, 9 years, that we've been like, oh, I forgot this in the hotel room, and it's not that big. I mean, it's a pain still, but you can walk back and forth, and it's not the end of the world.
That's right.
And I know that, Walt said, here we have the blessing of size. But I love that it's so close together
very
there.
Compact.
And that's one of the charming little...
And I would say, probably 9 times out of 10 of our personal trips, we've literally, gone to the airport. We've gone, from the airport to our hotel, whether it be the Disneyland Hotel or Grand Californian or one of the little hotels that's spotted around there. And we don't need a rental car. We are basically at the place that we're going to be for the entirety of our trip.
Yeah.
And from all of that is walking. And even during the D23 Expo, it's right there. The Anaheim Convention Center is right on the other side of California Adventure.
They couldn't have planned that better.
Yeah. And so, yes, you do get a workout on your feet, but to me, that's fun. That's awesome. Just everything being right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get fast passes from in between the two different parks and basically hop between the two all the time. Just going back and forth. It's great.
And I think touching back on the actual Anaheim location, I think that is also a fun factor to Disneyland because of where it was located. It became a locals park, and it wasn't yes, people visit from all over. And certainly in recent years, as we've mentioned on here a few times, they've marketed it as a destination and gotten a lot more people to go. And with Galaxy's Edge and, doing things that are kind of trying to assimilate the parks so that everyone can get the same experience. It's been a lot more crowded.
Yes, that is true.
So it'll be interesting to see after all of this terrible COVID situation passes, if changes are made to make it into a smaller crowd that, they let in. I don't know. I think...
Yeah, that ship might have already sailed.
Yeah.
Just because the word is out.
I guess.
Disneyland is great.
That's true.
People love it.
But it is still traditionally a locals park, which we've never really been able to claim here because we've had so many international visitors and people from all over the country, etc. So, and it's so huge. It just has a different feel.
That's right.
And now I'm done. Good night.
You're not done. We can talk about more mine too. Some of the things that I had on my list that some of your early ones where they combined some of mine. Let me just go to some of those. I had so many benchmarks in theme parks.
Yes.
You had included that in your first one, and that you had mentioned this is the first theme park. In addition to that, there were a lot of new, I would say audio animatronics. That a lot that the attractions that Walt brought from the World's Fair, from 64 and 65, the like human audio animatronics. Just different ways of moving people through attractions, including the boats of Pirates of the Caribbean and It's a Small World, to the Omnimover. That's right. That can be seen in the Haunted Mansion and formerly in the Adventure Through Inner Space, as well as several other ones. Yeah, there's just so many different innovations that have taken place that make it the kind of the quintessential theme park. That's where they had great moments with Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, Mr. Lincoln to you.
That's right. Great. That's right. I forgot. The only Misters there are Mr. Smee, Mr. Lincoln, and Mr. Toad.
Yes.
But yeah, so that you had touched upon that one with your history one. I had it separated, but that's okay. Have anything to add on that?
No.
Okay.
Not that I already didn't say.
I also included a separate one on my list was Walt's personal touch, which we had also touched upon there. So I guess mine were to,
yeah, we
put
already
too
did
many
that
on
one.
those. And then I had said a different one. There's so many great nooks and crannies and unique places to be. We touched upon that one already in a previous one, but I'm going to continue with that one because there's a couple of really very unique places within Disneyland that just are really just cool. Like as I mentioned, the back corner of Critter Country. Nobody goes back there. It's
they might if they've listened to our top whatever scenic spots in Disney parks, because that's in there.
And it was on our wedding invitations as well.
Yes, exactly.
Which is very close to the exit of the Winnie the Pooh attraction. Right as you're exiting off there, right before you go into that little gift shop where the Tigger tails can be found, that little waterfall.
Yes.
But also just like right next to the Matterhorn. Mm-hmm. Just being able to sit there and like hear all of the people, screaming as they're going through, and hearing the Harold.
Yes, Harold.
The abominable snowman from there kind of roaring his way through Fantasyland, as well as just like standing next to the submarine lagoon and watching the submarines go by. That.
And I love taking
and the monorails ahead.
The monorail to see everything. Not that that's a nook or cranny, but still.
Oh, yeah, but it's all part of it.
New Orleans Square has some great ones of those as well.
Yes.
We lost the Court of Angels, of course, to make
sad.
Club 33. But there's still, throughout those shops, there's some fun little places.
And even like the where Red Rocket's pizza port is, like in the back seating area, you can see. It's kind of like where the entrance to Space Mountain is. You can see the old track of the People Mover from over there, and just kind of the way, like, there used to be a restaurant, as you're walking up to go to that Space Mountain, that actually used to be a separate restaurant, the Space Place. And
I do remember you saying that.
Yeah. And just a lot of very unique things like that. But whether it be on Main Street.
I love the fact that when they built the bridge over the Pirates entrance, so you have that option to go that way, but then you can go down this way if you're going
to the waterfront.
Where the whatever that pancake house, what is that called? Riverboat Terrace, something like that.
The River Bell Terrace.
River Bell Terrace. Sorry, it's been too long since
That's okay.
I love that little area.
Oh yeah.
And then the landing beyond that, Lafitte's Landing. And, of course, Tom Sawyer Island or whatever it's called over there now.
Tom Sawyer Island, but it's got a pirate's lair on it.
Pirate's lair.
But, yeah, it's the kind of the meeting, the conflagration of three different lands. Adventureland, New Orleans Square, and Frontierland all meet up there. And just hearing that, the Dixieland or whatever other
the
live music is going on.
Oh,
yeah.
Which I just
and
saw
just watching
photos of ours from...
Oh, yeah.
I guess 3 years ago, when that was the first time I went to Tom Sawyer Island there. I finally made the trek over, and they were over there
That's
playing,
right.
just singing, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's such a I forgot to, I'm adding that to my list.
It's on my list, but you can have it.
Oh, okay. Well, not necessarily live entertainment, but the fact that people are just roaming around. Like you're walking through the castle and there's Peter Pan just hanging out.
Yep.
And he's not moving. He's not
Nope.
and there's not a line that instantly
he's
forms
just
and
kinda doing
attacks
a
him.
thing.
It's like people know this is Disneyland and this is just how we do it, and it can happen. I have so many photos of like the Mad Hatter and Alice just meandering through Casey's Corner. I mean, not Casey's Corner, Casey Jr. and going to the carousel. I have Mary Poppins on the carousel and the Pearly Band and, all of this stuff that it happens here in Magic Kingdom, but not
quite
as
that
often.
way.
And the character interaction
They have so
definitely
much
does not
freedom
happen.
to just do
Yeah.
whatever, just
Like
to entertain
that
folks.
is one of the main Disneyland differences.
Yeah.
Is the fact that, you just never know what's going to appear. And one time we actually were sitting in the River Bell Terrace, and there was kind of a battle of the Bootstrappers with another entertainment group. I don't even remember who it was now, but it was funny to see like who was going to win out the turf war. I think the Bootstrappers won. I can't remember.
How could they not?
I know. They are
But yeah.
pirates after all.
But yeah.
So yeah.
No, I'll allow it. But yeah, it's that and like things that can happen right in front of the Golden Horseshoe Saloon.
Yes.
Some impromptu shows happening right there. Yeah, things that, as you mentioned on Tom Sawyer Island. It's just incredible.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And we also have Main Street vehicles there. We didn't mention that either.
Yes, it seems as though Main Street vehicles at Disney World, I think they have like a 30-minute window every day where they might throw a horse-drawn streetcar on there, and that's it. At Disneyland, they have the fire engine, the omnibus, the horse-drawn streetcar, the horseless carriage, and the jitney.
Mm-hmm.
At at like all times of the day, it seems.
It's crazy.
And yeah, I love, especially like at the beginning of the day when everyone's going up Main Street. I always walk up Main Street and then I take a Main Street vehicle back so I can have it all to myself, and then go back up and back several times, just because it's so unique and fun.
It is. And if you want to experience that, if you've never been there, we highly recommend listening to Walt Disney Presents Disneyland or whatever that album is. I'll link to it. Which is available on like Apple Music and stuff like that. And he just takes you through. It's that old album, and he's like narrating like, this is Main Street, USA. And then like all of those vehicles are happening in the background, and you can hear the old Calliope or whatever.
That's right. Yep.
And then Adventureland, which the music I love for that, which you can hear in the Adventure Tower in Disneyland Hotel. So yeah,
that's
it's
a
a
whole
whole
other thing. I need to add that.
But that really puts you in the mood if you want to visit Disneyland in your mind. Definitely.
Yes, actually, when they released the 50th anniversary of Disneyland, they had a 6 CD set. They included a record of that, which was actually, I think, might have been the first time I'd ever heard that, and it's just phenomenal.
It is. It's a definite on repeat when we go on our road trips. We listen to that a lot.
Probably too much.
No, it never gets old.
Never too much.
Do you have any more left? Or?
No, I do. It's fun how we incorporated the fun characters into that one, though. That was good. I want to save that one for last. I was going to add the great live entertainment of Disneyland.
Yes.
That was on there, too. And we touched upon that as well. But even just like at the French Market, that Dixieland band that they have there. And, of course, the Dapper Dans on Main Street.
Yes. The Firehouse 5+2. Do they still?
They don't do those particular ones anymore.
No.
But
I was going to say,
there's so many great ones like that, though.
Does Tiana sing with them now in the Dixieland
She
one?
does, yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if I was just making that up or...
I don't know if she sings, but she's definitely there. She might sing. I think she
It might
does.
just be a singer.
Yeah.
It might not
It
be
could be.
Tiana.
I seem to remember, though, the last time I was there, she was there.
And they have that cool stage, which I don't think moves anymore. I think they did away with that. But the one in Tomorrowland that used to come up from the ground,
Yeah.
does that still do that, or do they finally?
I think it still is able to, but I have not seen them do that in a while.
And they used to have like crazy like 80s nights and like ska night and stuff like that there. Because again, it was like a locals part.
Yeah, and then also at the Carnation Gardens where they would have the dancing. I know they've kind of turned that into they have a live show with
Fantasy Fair or something.
Yeah, with where they retell the story of Beauty and the Beast as well as Tangled. But I think they're able to still convert that into like a dancing thing that they do on Friday and Saturday nights. No,
I don't think it's there. I think they do it in downtown Disney.
I thought they did, and I thought they brought it back. But maybe you're right.
I haven't heard anything about it. Maybe swing dancing's finally not in fashion anymore. I don't know.
Oh, it's always in fashion.
We'll have to
at
research
Disneyland.
that and get back to you.
But yeah, just so many great things, and of course that does include the characters that you mentioned. Because I was thinking of like Red, the new Red character from Pirates of the Caribbean, along with Jack Sparrow, and there was kind of some interplay between the two of them.
From Tom Sawyer Island with Jack Sparrow one time.
Yes, we did, and he did not just stand there. I think he climbed up to the top of the little angular thing right there. 'Cause he's a pirate, and he does things his own way.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah.
What's next?
Okay. And then, of course, and I did include parts of this before, but I was going to say the sounds of Disneyland. And, of course, I was thinking about the Matterhorn, which I had already mentioned before. But even just the clang of the bells on the horse-drawn streetcar, the clip-clop of their feet going up and down the street.
The monorail
it's just
horn.
Click, click, click. And, of course, the monorail horn right as it goes over that part of the Matterhorn. Mm-hmm. Always. I guess that's just where they do that.
I love that.
Yeah, because it's predictable. But just everything, and especially over at the Rivers of America, just being able to hear like the steamboat and the turning of the paddle wheel.
Yes.
and
And also the pre-show over at the Tiki Room. You can hear that when you're walking by and stuff like that. And then you're like, oh, I want to go in there because it's so good.
And then you need to get a Dole Whip.
Yes.
That's right.
Dole Whip. Check my Instagram for a photo from there.
That's right. Oh my gosh, there's so many great things. Okay, I'll check that off. I was also going to include one of the cool things about Disneyland. This might be personal to me. It was my original. It was my first Disney park. It's where I grew up.
No, it was mine too.
That was your first Disney park?
Just kidding. That is personal to you.
But it's great though that even though it wasn't your first, it still has become very special.
I know. What if I went there the first time and I didn't like it? We might not even be together.
Oh, we definitely would not be together. But I was also not really worried about that.
Yeah, that's true. Disneyland. I mean, I was told before I went that I wasn't going to like it because it was so small. And they were very wrong, the people that told me that. So there are people
Later, you're going to have to tell me who told you that because, wow.
I don't remember. It was a lot of people. Because I was like, it's my first time, and they were like, "Oh, you're not going to be disappointed."
And like the people who like say the castle's so tiny,
it is tiny.
It is tiny,
pinky.
but like I grew up with that, and so when I go to Disney World, which is now where I live, that castle, Cinderella Castle, just seems so garishly big.
And now it's garishly pink.
Oh, that's right.
But we haven't seen it in person.
Kind of like Disneyland's, which is
it's
pink.
big pinky now.
There it is, right here. Not so pink on all of these books.
No, because it used to be. It was like gray when it first happened, right? Or it was pink and then it was gray.
Yeah, I have books here that show all of the castles over the years, where you can see the different pinks and grays. And
I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, but it became little pinky, as you said, and now we have a big pinky.
Yes.
But anyway, but yeah, it's my first visit was on my 4th birthday in the early 70s, 74. Yeah.
And you were just dropped off and let go.
No,
right?
that's the truth.
I know.
I grew up going to Disneyland. My mother would drop me off there on her way to work. I was probably 8, 9, 10 at the time. I would go there all the time during the summer.
I can't imagine doing that.
And
Even though
yeah, I would
grew up
hang
in
out.
The 80s.
I didn't even go with friends because I didn't have any friends then. Sorry. I would go to Disneyland alone. Sometimes I would go with one or two of my sisters, but I would always ditch them because I wanted to be alone. But yeah, I would hang out at Disneyland alone at age 9, 10, and 11. That's just how I grew up. But it
I'm
became very
jealous.
special to me. You
Yeah.
know, just being able, the independence of a small child, being able to go around.
The good old days.
Yeah, I think they actually have now included rules that where you can't do that.
Yeah, so you have to be, I think
14. You have to, anyone younger than 11 has to be with somebody who's 14 or older. I think it's like that.
I don't know why 7 was in my head for some reason, but that doesn't make sense because who would let a 7-year-old run free?
Exactly. Now, I might not have been able to drive my own Autopia car. And I don't know, maybe I probably could have by that time. Who knows? But
You probably were tall.
yeah, I was. So yeah. But yeah, that to me.
Does that wrap up your list? Or?
Not at all, because I've actually since added a few. I was going to say holidays at Disneyland are completely unlike anything. Remember Viva Navidad?
Yes, I do, but that's at a different park.
Well, it's still at Disneyland.
Disneyland Resort.
Disneyland Resort.
Registered trademark.
But even just the twinkling lights in the trees on Main Street
I know.
in front of the castle. When nighttime, and that's a totally different thing. I just turned holidays into nighttime because nighttime at Disneyland is a whole separate thing.
It is. Yeah, it really is extra magical then.
Yeah, I actually did not. Going back to the holidays thing. When I grew up going to Disneyland, I didn't really go during Christmas time. I don't know why. We just never did. And so when I went with you your first time for the Christmas season, I believe that was also my first time.
Wow.
In my 40s.
That was my birthday.
Yeah.
Getaway.
That was a great trip.
I think I turned 40. That's what it was for, right?
Sure.
They all run together, but yes. Holidays are very fun there, extra magical, as is nighttime.
Yeah, I really love nighttime there because all the crowds go away and you have the place practically to yourself and all the twinkling lights.
And here's
just
the
on Main
thing
Street and everywhere else.
we did not mention, but also the weather
Oh,
makes it so much more enjoyable because it does get hot there, especially when you go like in July or August,
Yeah.
like right in the peak time, usually when Expo is happening.
yes.
There can be some scorcher heat waves.
Yeah, the first Destination D that had the scavenger hunt. The scavenger hunt was on like a 110 degree day. It was
Crazy.
nuts, absolutely nuts. But for the most part, you're right. The weather there is phenomenal. For the most part, it just does not rain there.
Yes.
We were there on one day on your last trip when it did rain on the final day, and it was almost kind of miserable.
I
Kind
blocked
of.
it out.
Well, that's good. That's how great, and I remembered then, like, I don't think I've really ever been to Disneyland on a day when it's rained, and that's why they're able to have a lot of outdoor attractions without any cover, is because rain is so rare there. For the most part, the weather there is just very pleasant. And I like how it gets cool in the evenings.
That's what I was just going to say, is even when it's really hot and you have the heat waves going on, once the sun sets, it's like hoodie weather.
Yeah, and it gets to the point where you probably really want to have like a hoodie or a jacket or something. And I remember a lot of times I'm stuck there without any of those things. And so it gets kind of nippy. But I always like that. And being able to ride something like the Matterhorn, where the wind's going through your face and you're like really cold.
Yes.
It's still very special. I was also going to say the hotels there. They don't have as many. But the Disneyland Hotel and the Grand Californian are just great.
Yes. We talked about those in our hotels ranked episode.
Yes.
So
Okay.
listen to that one for more discussion on.
Okay, and so I will now get to the one that I saved for last.
Okay.
And that is the everlasting diversity and beauty of the park. It's just so darn pretty.
It is.
Like the little wildflowers that they have growing around Matterhorn.
Yes.
And even that area at the end of that little special back corner of Critter Country that we've talked about. Everything, I mean, and it's just so diverse because, as I mentioned, like when you're on Tom Sawyer Island, it's has that old Western feel with the a lot of the pine trees and things like that, and the way that they built the new section of the railroad that when they added Galaxy's Edge and those new areas over there, the diversity of that landscape is just really cool to see. Kind of because now they have the Rivers of America where it's kind of has 4 different rivers all around America, including the Rio Grande, the Colorado, and a couple others, the Mississippi, of course. But just they have a lot of the diversity over there of landscaping. It's just very cool to see.
And all around the Matterhorn, those plants that they have are ones that you would find in like a Swiss environment, kind of very like Alpsy.
Yeah, and a lot of that is thanks to Bill Evans,
Yes.
Walt's, and actually he wrote this book, The Disneyland World of Flowers, that actually is a very detailed book about the planting, about why he chose the plants that he did that go around Disneyland, and it's really just very neat. But it shows the different landscaping things that they do all around
Styles
each land.
and
Yeah,
types.
exactly.
And
And
there's
how
like bamboo trees in Adventureland and palm trees and all that fun stuff.
yeah, it's because like they're able to, because like Jungle Cruise and Main Street are like just feet apart, but when you're on Main Street, you don't know that because of all of the lush vegetation that they have over there that blocks it doesn't block all the sounds because you can still hear the humming of the engines of the Jungle Cruise boat and an occasional like a lion call or something like that. But that's part of the magic, as we've described before.
Yes.
But yeah, the place is just so beautiful, and even as you're exiting Indiana Jones Adventure, coming out of that cave into that place where you can see the Jungle Cruise and all of that, and how lush that is. And you walk a few steps into that Frontierland and New Orleans Square area, and it's just different. And because the park is now as old as it is, the trees have really grown in. And if you sit back and you look at just like, wow, that tree is huge. It didn't used to be that way.
Yeah. Well, some of them got so big they took them out, and now they're in Tony Baxter's yard, right?
The ones that they put in Tony Baxter's yard were from the hub because they wanted to free up the space so that people could see the fireworks, I believe. But yeah, he also did take a few of the other trees. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the trees have grown to be too big. I guess they've taken those out. But like the whole idea of the berm at Disneyland.
That was one of the things that amazed me when I first went.
Yeah, and if you take the Disneyland Railroad around, you can see the berm in doing its thing. It's essentially like 20, 30 feet high, and there are now trees that have just grown out of the sides of that thing.
That's what's
that literally blocks out the outside world.
When you take the monorail, like the full circle, and you go and you're just like going by, and there's like a Chili's or whatever, that you can see, and you're like, wow. But it really does, when you're inside the park, it really does help to transport you from wherever they want to. Yeah,
they're unable to really kind of block that out when you're taking the monorail trip. So it can be kind of stark, because when you hop on the monorail in the Tomorrowland station, that's pretty much the first thing that you do, is you exit the park. And so that can be a stark contrast to everything that you're enjoying. You're in the middle of your fun day at Disneyland, and then boom, you're instantly taken out of that and see all of this just for that small stretch along Harbor Boulevard before they take you into small stretch of the California Adventure, and then the Grand Californian Hotel, and you're back into the Disney bubble, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah, all of this is just fun and really makes me want to go back.
I know, me too. But we can't right now, even if we wanted to.
Really?
Yes, it is not currently open. It celebrated its birthday alone.
Well, I don't think it was really alone. I think we all celebrated. It was in our hearts at the time,
Yes,
right?
Definitely.
And so it may have physically been alone, but it was within each and every one of us.
Correct. So those were our top reasons for why we love Disneyland.
It might have been 12 or 13, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to count up how many, but I think we're still going to say top 5, and people can just shake their fist at us.
Yeah.
If they're mad we went on for so long.
Which we tend to do.
We're going to start a new segment, if you will, on every episode, a little trivia corner.
Oh, wow.
Which
Have you come up with something for that?
No, I assigned that to you.
Wait, what? Oh, okay. I can come up with something real quick.
Just a fun little tidbit of trivia.
All right, I'll try that. This one, today's trivia nugget, if you will, won't be too difficult. But it basically deals with the World's Fair attractions that came to Disneyland. As I mentioned earlier in this show, Walt Disney did 4 attractions at the New York World's Fair. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, the Ford's Magic Skyway, the Carousel of Progress, or Progress Land as it was called then, and It's a Small World. And eventually brought all 4 of those to the park. And also that introduced a lot of new technologies to the park, like human audio animatronics, or as I mentioned before, the boats from It's a Small World as a new way of transporting a great amount of people throughout an attraction, but also the Omni Mover that was part of Ford Magic Skyway as a way to, yes, have a lot of throughput, but also be able to direct the show by positioning the guests in a particular way. By here's what we want you to see, by essentially doing that and having kind of a full 360 motion so that they can kind of tell you what to see. But so my trivia question is this: what was the first attraction at Disneyland that featured this brand new Omni Mover system? And what were the vehicles appropriately called? Do you know?
Yes.
So, yeah, today's wasn't so difficult, but
so we'll have the answer next week, or do you want to say it now?
No, we're going to have it next week.
Okay. So you can comment with your guesses either on the YouTube video or our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Zannaland. You can tweet us. All of that information will be wherever you are listening or watching this, so you can find all of that out. And you can always head to Zannaland.com because I do a blog post for every episode, and that has all of our info, and you can comment there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of new and exciting things, we're actually going to be starting a live show.
Ooh.
Because we deal so much in history, and, you know, we do a lot of top 10s because it just makes it easier to flow through things. But most of the stuff we talk about is in the past. But there's still a lot of things going on that we might like to discuss, and we might like to discuss them with you.
Yes.
I don't know which camera to look into.
I don't know.
But we thought it would be fun to get, you know, some more interaction with people and hear from folks. And I know there's a lot of live shows out there to choose from, but we're going to throw ours up on Monday so we can discuss all of the things that happened the previous week and perhaps over the weekend. And it'll be a fun precursor to when the show comes out, which is now going to be on Wednesdays.
Okay.
So
I'm excited.
Stay tuned for more information on that. Make sure you're liking and subscribing and setting up notifications so you know when we're announcing this and when it's going to go live.
Yeah.
And make sure you're following Zannaland on Facebook, because that's probably the best way to get the notification. I'm pretty sure we're going to be doing it live on Facebook. I have to check with my producer. We might be doing multiple things that broadcast at different places at the same time.
That would be fun.
So everyone can join in
Yeah.
if you're not a Facebook person. So yeah, that's a fun little thing that I look forward to.
I'm excited for
happening.
that.
Me too. Get to see us be awkward live without any editing. So that'll be fun. But again, we thank you for listening and liking and subscribing and giving us a rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts, giving us a thumbs up. It really does help to get the word out and let people know that we exist and we're ready to tell you more tales.
Yes, I'm excited to do that.
Disney past and present.
Very
So
fun.
thank you again for joining us up the waterfall.
That's right. Anything's possible at Disneyland.